This is one of my more important videos. I want to share with you why I committed to making 100 cold calls a day for 9 months straight, and also how I was able to do it. Let me take you back to 2018. I started my career in software sales. I never had any relevant sales experience. I had worked hourly jobs. I babysat, I washed dishes, I mowed lawns, did odd jobs. So it was a big change for me to actually start my career and work in a performance-based job. I started out bottom of the totem pole at a tech company as a sales development rep, and my entire job was reaching out to prospects within companies to try and set meetings with them. So I would cold call, I would cold email, I would send LinkedIn messages, whatever it took to set up meetings so that I could then hit my numbers. And that's how I got paid, by setting up meetings. So when I first started, I wasn't very good at it. Everyone said I sounded like a used car salesman. And my first month when I had a quota as a sales development rep, I failed miserably. I was literally last on the leaderboard, tied with someone out of like 40 reps. So naturally it was discouraging because I was used to doing pretty well at things. I remember calling my mom at the end of that first month and saying, this thing is harder than I thought it would be. I don't know if I'm cut out for it. Rather than quitting, because I was thinking about it, literally 1-2 months in, I set up time with a senior sales leader in my office. And the main takeaway from that meeting is asking yourself, are you all in or are you not all in? It's a binary decision. And this is something I would encourage you to do now as well as a follow-up to this video, is write down, am I all in and committed to success in my current opportunity? Or am I thinking, hey, if it doesn't work, I'll go take this job, or I'm just trying to get through to this point and then I'll go quit to this job? All in means, hey, I'm taking my army to this island, we're burning the ships because we're taking the island, or we're gonna die on this island. It's a binary decision, and that's the decision I had to make. So once I got to the point where I was all in, I decided I can control my work ethic, and I'm not more talented than anyone. I don't really get this naturally, so I'm just simply going to outwork everyone around me. So I started making 100 cold calls per day for 9 months straight. I ended up getting a lot better. I've made over 60,000 cold calls now, and I've promoted over 6 times from an entry-level sales development rep to a senior account executive. I have 4x my income. And all of this experience through my 4.5 years has taught me a few lessons that I think are really applicable to anyone out there also looking to grow and develop themselves. And it's also helpful for me just to go back and think back to what got me through that point in my life to transform, because I'm now currently at a place as a senior account executive. I'm also struggling and I'm trying to get to that next level. I want to become an enterprise software sales rep, an enterprise account executive. So lesson 1 is that success requires going through struggle. It's the tough situations that force us to grow. In high school, I started playing football as a freshman. I absolutely sucked. I didn't like the tight pants. I didn't like the contact. So you're wondering, okay, why did you actually do football? I did football to get tougher and try and earn the respect of others. It's the challenges that we overcome that other people know are difficult. That's how we gain the respect and admirations of others. So I sucked. I stuck with the football, and then my senior year, I was starting defensive end on the varsity team. I used to be 60 pounds heavier, 230 pounds. I was a big guy. A mindset hack that really helps me is framing everything with, I have not done this thing yet. I am not this thing yet. So rather than accepting, I'm just not a great cold caller, I'm just not naturally a good football player, I'm just not as smart as everyone else around me, I'm not a great cold caller yet. I'm not a good enough football player to start on varsity yet. I'm not smart enough and confident enough to sound articulate to start making YouTube videos yet. It's all the yet because it's an ongoing process, because as long as you adopt a growth mindset, you can apply that to cold calling or any other realm of life, because none of us are naturally born inherently valuable. We have to go through struggle in order to gain success in the respect of others. Lesson number 2 is to adopt daily discipline. An analogy I really like is every day in Africa, a lion wakes up, a gazelle wakes up, and the fastest lion has to be faster than the slowest gazelle, and vice versa. Because the lion needs to kill the gazelle to eat and survive. The gazelle needs to outrun the lion to ultimately survive. So it's a game of survival. Every day this loop happens, and this is nature. So once you get in a mentality of my daily discipline, being consistent, showing up, making these calls, doing whatever it takes, it is a matter of survival. What if I told you that your ability to actually put in the calls, which you can control, and then your ability to get better over time, that is what will shape the quality of your life. Because if you're better at making calls, and if you can hold yourself accountable to actually making the calls, you will get better, you will recognize more success because you'll set more meetings, you'll hit your targets, you'll get paid more commissions, and you'll make more money and be able to invest it and live a higher quality of life. So the daily discipline is everything. And something we adopted when I was a sales development rep is win the day. Ask yourself, what do I need to do today in order to successfully win the day? If you ever feel yourself leaving the office questioning, well, did I actually make any progress today? That's a loss already because you don't know what success looks like. So at this point, early on in my sales development career, success for me was simply making 100 calls. That was it. It was very simple. It was just putting in the execution, the effort. Now, I'm not always just tracking total call output. Efficiency matters more to me now. How many live conversations do I have? Of those conversations in the meetings I set up, what is the conversion rate from initial meeting to actual meeting that progresses, qualified pipeline, a real opportunity? What is the average deal size? How fast are we able to start that sales cycle and then actually get the signature and close the deal? Have you drank any water today? Of course you have. You need water to survive. Once you get to a mentality of, I need to make cold calls, as bad as I need to drink water, as bad as the lion needs to go hunt the gazelle, that's the place you can get into where it's pure survival mode. The lion is only hunting for about 4 hours a day. The rest of the time it's thinking, sleeping, relaxing, resting. So make sure to show up to the office rested, in the right mentality to start hitting the phones right at 8 a.m. You got to start early so that you can get at least 40 calls in before noon, and then be ready to hit it hard at the end of the day because that's when the best answer rates are. So you got to start strong, you got to finish strong, and when you have the headset on actually dialing, that's game time. That's when you're on the hunt, and that's when you have to be fully focused and engaged. And when you're actually making the calls, it can be easy to get discouraged. If you speak with a rude prospect, all of a sudden that discouragement can be in your headspace for hours to come. So one way to get past this and any sort of fear or uncertainty or doubt or worry about rejection is to obsess over the process but detach emotionally from the outcome. Obsessing over the process is making your 100 calls per day. Detaching yourself emotionally from the outcome, if I get hung up on, doesn't matter. If I set the meeting, quick celebration, doesn't matter. Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems. So once you get past the point where you're over celebrating the wins and you're super disappointed about the losses, just be at a complete, even, steady keel. A few examples here. I was working with a credit union that I identified that, hey, they can benefit from my solution. I identified the right contact at that credit union. I called the guy over 57 times over the course of 2 years. He maybe answered my call once, twice. He agreed to the meeting at one point, no-showed me. I kept calling over 57 times, eventually got him on the cold call, set up a meeting, and he happened to be in the market to be looking for a new solution that I could help with. Ended up closing the deal for $20,000. And that's a success story. A loss story is I was working an active deal with a property management company, and I was working with a particular member of the team. She told me no. And of course, we as salespeople, when we hear no, we just hear, I'm not interested right now, but maybe. But in reality, she rejected me. So I went above her to her VP. I called her VP. I say, hey, this is Trent from insert company name, and she immediately stopped me, and she was super rude. She's like, didn't XYZ on my team already tell you no? Why are you calling me? And I said, okay, whatever, see you, bye. And rather than letting that get to me, I said, okay, I am emotionally detached from the outcome, doesn't matter. I'm going to obsess over the process and keep making my calls. It's that mentality of focus that allows me to show up, make the calls, do what needs to be done, and that allowed me to progress forward in my career. So as you think about what that looks like in your sales job, making your calls, what that looks like in your health life, showing up to the gym, or with your relationships, it's all about showing up every day, being obsessed with the process, detaching yourself from the outcome, holding the daily discipline. We must go through struggles in order to become successful, and the decision in front of all of us is that we have the choice to master our thoughts, to build our dream lives, or to remain mired in frustration and disappointment and failure. The choice is yours.